We should just have a pet night where we just talk about dogs.
I was thinking about like having a game where dogs are allowed.
I don't know why our building is not super huge on the idea.
No.
And they do it everywhere else in hockey. Like I've been at dozens probably of games where, pucks. What's going on, Growler fans, and welcome back to another episode of Growler Hour, presented by Molson Coors. I am your host, Growlers play-by-play voice, Chris Ballard, and as always, we're so happy you decided to spend part of your day here with us and the Newfoundland Growlers. Don't forget, you can always find Growler Hour on Twitch right here on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and again on Rogers Television on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. and again Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. So no excuses. You can get your Growler fix at least 3 days a week, and even more so if you go to the Growler social media pages. But in any case, we are super thrilled to have you aboard here. Hello, Growlers. Tom J123 in the house. Prong Stats here on the chat. I almost said Mixler chat. Still used to that. Paul Loaders here, of course, and our own Dean McDonald. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. Before we get to tonight's guest, we have a great show lined up for you. As always, we've got Parker Gahagen waiting in the wings, and coming up a little later on, joining us from Riga, Latvia, will be Kristians Rubins. But first, a little bit of housekeeping before we kick off tonight's show. And I want to start into this just by saying what a cool experience this has been to be able to, during these really challenging times, to produce this show for you guys, hockey fans across the province. It's really been such an awesome ride. So thank you all very much for for joining us every single week, wherever you may be doing so. That being said, Season 1 of Growler Hour is drawing to a close. All good things must come to an end. So including tonight, Season 1 of Growler Hour will see 3 more episodes. So mark your calendars now. The season finale will be the 25th of June. That is the Thursday airing on Twitch. Obviously, will come a little later on Rogers. But in any case, make sure you are still joining us. And again, that does not mean this is the end of Growler Hour. We're going to have all kinds of great content for you guys coming down the pipe throughout the off season. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. We will definitely have all kinds of fun stuff coming your way. Next week on Growler Hour, in our penultimate episode, really looking forward to this one. We have a couple of great talkers coming on. Joe Duzak, defenseman for the Growlers, will be joining us, as well as, I guess you can call him a graduate of the Growlers, now Kelly Cup champion, and a big fan of Growler Hour, Hudson Ellenuk, will be here. So all of that coming up next week, next Thursday, right here at twitch.tv/NL Growlers. I think that's all the formalities, so let's get to tonight's guest. Kicking off the program tonight, all the way from Colorado Springs, Colorado, it's Bera the Corgi. I mean, Parker Gahagen. Parker, hiding behind the dog there, and that's going to fly with us. Thanks for jumping on here tonight. How have you been the last few weeks and months? Because you and I caught up before Growler Hour when we were still doing streams online of the games. I'm pretty sure we called you up during there. But sum up your last few weeks. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. Thanks for having me on. I guess over the last few weeks, it's really just been doing a bunch of, home projects and, let me set the corgi down. A bunch of spending a lot of time with Bera, making up for lost time, and the wife too, Caitlin. So, yeah, not just the dog. But yeah, I mean, just doing a lot of that, resting the body, and then starting to get back on the ice again, but easing back into it.
No, for sure. And I did bring up the corgi there. Certainly good to see. And it's Bera, right? And you told me off air, named after Yogi Berra. That's awesome.
That's correct. I was trying to implement a sports theme into her name, and and then we found out she was a girl, so I had to be a little creative in how I wanted to implement like the Yankees into it and stuff. So, and then I thought, well, Bear is kind of short, and that's kind of a cool little nickname. So we were pretty proud of it, proud of our creativity.
Absolutely. It was really just over a month ago that your season officially ended with the cancellation or the lack of a finish of the American Hockey League season. But you recapped your season pretty poignantly with a great post on Instagram. So I thought that would be a great starting point to kind of talk about your year and use your own words to kind of sum up, because you had one heck of a season. So I'll jump right in here for you. With the official conclusion of the AHL season, I wanted to share some gratitude. Every organization played an integral part of my development over the course of the season. Specifically, thank you to the players, staff, front office, and fans of each team that set me up for success this season. We'll start there. Kind of sum up your year. I mean, your first full professional season, leaving the Army ranks, SPHL, ECHL, ending with an American League contract. That's a heck of a year. Kind of sum it up in your own words.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite the journey. I guess to really, summarize it, I was basically, I started off the year. I went back to West Point, which it's near New York City, about an hour and a half away. It's where I played college. I went there for about 3 weeks and started training because I was pretty much officially allowed to start training for hockey again Labor Day weekend. So just the beginning of September. So before that, I was, just tearing up the beer league ranks. So I was at West Point for 3 weeks, did some training. And then I went actually to the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. I went to their camp, and they ended up having affiliations with Florida and Carolina. So, just a matter of having too many guys and not enough spots. So when that didn't work out, in the meantime, I went down to Lynchburg, Virginia. So my wife went to Liberty University there, and we still have connections there. And I just got hooked up with some ice, so something to kind of stay busy during that kind of transition period. And then I went down to Atlanta for a week. My sister lives in Atlanta. And then while there, I got a call from the coach in Evansville, which I'm grateful for that opportunity. I mean, there wasn't, it was tough. There wasn't, I think there was a couple teams that were willing to kind of sign me on right away. So, without that call, I wouldn't even be here. So
no kidding. And you move on to say thank you to the world-class athlete program of the United States Army. I would not be able to pursue my dream without the support of that program. Kind of speak specifically to that program, because I'm not sure a lot of fans, I mean, I've asked you a handful of times now before, but for the purpose of context for our interview here for the last time, I just wanted to shed a little light on that program and kind of how that's designed.
Right. So the world-class athlete program, the objective of it is basically to allow soldiers to basically train for the Olympics. So once you get assigned to it, your main duty is really just, whatever your sport is, whether it be swimming, boxing, whatever. Your goal is really just to make the Olympic team and do whatever it takes in order to accomplish that. So having this, this option available, within the Army is, I wouldn't be here without that either. So.
No, for sure. You were quick to thank the Evansville Thunderbolts for giving you your initial opportunity to start the season. There were many that didn't want to take a chance on me due to not playing the previous season, so thank you for starting this wild ride. Talk about your time in Evansville. I don't know that I ever actually got to chat with you. I think you only spent, 6 games there? But, you have to start the journey somewhere. What was the vibe like in Evansville?
No, it's a great group of guys there. The staff was great, and, they had a pretty good setup as well. So I think as far as the league, it was good, and it was definitely what I needed at the time. And then, as soon as I got there, they, exuded confidence in me, and gave me ample opportunity and, allowed me to move up.
No kidding. When you went to Evansville, did you expect to maybe spend your whole year there? Were you hoping to get a call from a team like the Growlers or a team in the ECHL to move onward and upward? What was your expectation when you first set foot in Evansville?
Yeah, I think initially going in, I really didn't know what to expect. So I just went into it with the mindset of just, whatever organization I'm a part of, my goal is really just to make that organization better from the time I got there. So whether it be, 6 games, whether that be 30 games, my objective was really just to make the team and the organization better.
And I want to back up a bit. So you did not play at all the year previous. What did that look like? Are you on the ice that year? I know that's a part of, serving your country and being involved at West Point and with the military. I'm just kind of curious. It's not like, were you deployed for that full year, not on the ice? Kind of what did that year look like?
Yeah, it was those were long days. I was doing a regular Army work. My focus during that time was definitely the Army. I was working from, 6 to, 5:30 most days. So it's besides that, there really is not much time for hockey besides playing beer league once or twice a week at night. So, my priority definitely was not hockey for majority of that league, but obviously I still had the desire and, the passion to keep playing. It was just, just wasn't right for the time.
Well, good on Evansville for giving you that opportunity, and we'll move on with your post here. Thank you to the Newfoundland Growlers for believing in me and arranging the opportunity to play with the best team in the ECHL. Gotta love hearing that. Being a part of the Growlers was an experience that I will cherish. I never planned on making it to the easternmost point in North America, but I'm glad I did. Lots to unpack here, and And I know that's going to really fill the hearts of a lot of Newfoundlanders here who really fell in love with the way that you play and approach the game. What makes you say that the Growlers were the best team in the ECHL? Let me ask you.
I think it starts just with the whole Maple Leafs organization. I mean, they truly have like a 3-tier system because, I mean, out of all the other ECHL teams, I would say they're the most equipped. I mean, I don't know other ECHL teams that have a goalie coach. So we're just like, I would look at the game notes for the games, and I would look at all the coaches that we have listed compared to other teams. Our teams have 2, maybe 3, and we have at least 5.
Yeah, I think you have to turn the page of the game notes.
Yeah. So I think just it definitely starts with just the Leafs organization and their commitment not only to the success of at the NHL level and AHL level, but also at the ECHL level as well.
No, absolutely. We have a question from the chat here from Tom J123. What did Parker like the most about Newfoundland? Parker?
Oh, man. I think it was just the unique culture. I mean, just the people there are awesome and just like love for hockey. And, you know, there's no other place like it, really.
No, you're right. You're preaching to the choir here, my friend. Clearly, you saw some of the charm of this place. I mean, you mentioned, obviously, it's the most easterly point in North America. What kind of stuff did you get around and do during your time here? Because I know in the middle of a season, that's not always easy to do. Did you get to at least get out and explore this great city and the great province of Newfoundland and Labrador at least a little bit?
Yeah, I was able to explore a little bit. I mean, we were definitely limited, just, you know, it's not easy to transport a car over there, especially when you join in the middle of the season. So I was definitely fortunate to have Neil Davidson, the flag trainer. He showed me around a bit, showed me the ways and different places. So, I mean, not only the people, but also just like the views of it as well. And I mean, it's definitely a place you need to visit at least once in your life.
Now, you kind of alluded to, you know, really having to build back your confidence after essentially a year not on the ice. And, well, I'm sure Beer League was real good for your confidence. But would you say you really kind of got all that confidence back? Well, really, I'm asking, did you feel you peaked with the Growlers? I know you ended up playing some games with the Marlies, but you were almost unbeatable here with us at Mile One Center in front of our crowd here as a member of the Growlers. Would you feel like this is where kind of you really were able to pull it all together and get your game back? I almost hesitate to say that. Your game never went anywhere, but you know what I'm asking.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that I was able to get my game back as that's probably the best way to put it. But I think I was definitely able to do that with the Growlers just due to those resources that we had available. And then also just, I mean, the thing of the coaching staff as well. I mean, you got Daryl, you got Coach Snow. So it's like you have everything you need there. And Snowy was awesome to me. Everyone was awesome to me, but Snowy he had a great confidence that he showed with me. And, you know, he gave me plenty of opportunities to succeed. And, you know, it was an awesome group of guys as well. Some fellow guys that played in the Atlantic Hockey Conference.
That's right.
So that was good to see, good to play with those guys and not just against them. And I mean, it's just everything about the experience just helped me to kind of get comfortable and, you know, get back in the rhythm.
And you shouted out the Growlers goalie coach earlier without mentioning him by name. I'm going to give you a chance to give Merrick Benda some props. You're absolutely right. It's really a unique situation the Growlers find themselves in to be equipped with not just a goalie coach, but a guy like Merrick, not only the nicest guy you'll ever meet in the world, but a guy who's very good at what he does. Maybe shine some light on what kind of stuff he was able to allow you to work on that maybe you're not getting in terms of an opportunity maybe elsewhere.
Yeah, I think Merrick was a great asset as far as just having a conversation. I mean, not everyone has played goalie, so if you've never played it, it's hard to really understand not only the physical aspects but the mental aspects as well. So kind of having him as a backboard and someone you can kind of relate to and talk to after every game or during a practice, it's an irreplaceable asset. And then, you know, also with like going over film with him and other things like that. It's just being able to talk to him and talk through like different situations. I think just having him definitely made a huge difference in gaining that rhythm back and that confidence.
What's your favorite memory of your time with the Growlers? I mean, there's certainly a lot of them, but lay it on me. What's going to jump out to you the most?
Yeah, the first one I think of is just that streak. So when we got that final win and set that record, it was awesome to be able to achieve that with those guys and just to be a part of that.
Yeah, I had a feeling that one was going to be pretty top of mind for that. I want to move on here with your Instagram post. You also go ahead to thank the Toronto Marlies for the opportunity to play again at the AHL level. I could not be more appreciative of the resources that were at my disposal during my time in Toronto. The Marlies are an organization that truly cares for its own, and I have felt that every day and continue to feel it even in the off season. You earned your American League deal halfway through a season, which not a lot of guys are able to do. In January, hard work certainly paid off for you. Talk about kind of how you managed to sign that deal and that whole process that led you back, like you said, to playing your first American League games in almost 2 years.
Yeah, I think it all goes back to the Growlers, just having the success with them and being able to not only, really just having that team success just brings me success as well. So it's not just me being credited with that contract. I couldn't have done it on my own or without the resources as well. But yeah, it was an awesome opportunity to be able to sign that contract and be able to get back to that level. Your goal is always to make it to the NHL and just play against the best competition, just because, you just want to be the best that you can possibly be. And, I was just grateful for the opportunity to continue to pursue that.
We got another question coming to us from the Twitch chat. Clear Divide is asking, does Parker, I don't know that I would have asked you quite this way, does Parker have any weird goalie pregame ritual stuff? Doesn't have to be weird, but I do find you are pretty ritualistic. Shed some light on your pregame routine for us.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely exercises that I feel help me to get into, the optimal state. So a lot of it has to do with just kind of tracking. It also comes down to tracking the puck well. So a lot of stuff I do is, maybe juggling could be an example. It kind of just may force you to kind of focus on an object and, may throw a crossball against the wall. There's definitely stuff I did every time, but I would call it a routine, not a ritual, because it's not like if I didn't have time to quite, spend enough time on it, then I wouldn't feel like it would hinder my performance. It was more something that I felt like would just assist me in just playing the best I possibly could that night, I guess.
No, for sure. And now, does that kind of translate in game as well? What you talk about in terms of visualizing the puck? Because between whistles, I find myself watching you a lot because you're so locked in and I can see you're so laser focused, but you're still even between plays, making saves or pretending like you're seeing the puck. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, it's kind of just the best way to describe it, tracking into the gloves. That's a big thing I try and do is just track the puck. And one way to do that is, it sounds funny, but it's just like keeping the puck in front of you. So obviously that's the objective of playing goalie, but that's it's not just like when the shot's coming at you, it's when the puck's, being passed across, it's pretty much always staying, square with the puck. So a lot of that stuff I do in between whistles or whatever is really just it's more so just staying focused on the puck and, and just continue to implement those things even when I'm not getting a shot at that time, or especially if there's periods or times of the game when I'm not getting many shots at all.
We have another question in the Twitch chat. I have to read this one out because it's from our own Dean McDonald. He says, ask Parker about the great fundraiser he's involved with. I don't know what this is. Clearly, Dean does. What's the backstory here, Parker?
Yeah. So this one was actually started it was named after me, but I didn't start it. It was a couple of guys I played with at West Point at college, and it was called the Parker Gahagen Challenge because I was number 35 at school, and it was a 35-mile challenge. So it really wasn't, I didn't start it. It was just because it was my number. But I still participated and did it, and I was, I wouldn't say I regretted it, but my body definitely didn't feel right for, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks afterwards.
So that was when we were last speaking. Was that big run that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. It
was 35 miles?
Yes, it was 35 miles. You could walk, run, whatever. But the purpose of it was to basically provide meals for nurses that were, I guess working nonstop at that point just because of the coronavirus and everything. So it was a great cause. I probably wouldn't have done it without some good cause or purpose behind it. I don't usually get peer pressured into things, so it's like it was worth it. And it was. I definitely it's something I'll remember. Kind of like you're telling me how you remember that steak from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I mean, it's something like that. Just it's a different thing.
That's true. That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah. I want to thank Dean also for he did donate to that as well. I mean, he definitely didn't have to. I mean, it wasn't benefiting or directly benefiting the nurses in Newfoundland. So I appreciate that donation as well.
Awesome. You're going to move on a little bit with your post here. It was a really good, long post. Lastly, you said thank you to my friends and family who supported me from all over the country this season. You guys are the best. And thank you to my amazing wife, Caitlin. It was definitely hard living thousands of miles apart this season. So I couldn't be more thankful for your unwavering support. Your dedication to our family cannot go unmentioned. Working full-time while managing our home, corgi and all, and still finding time to drive across the country so I could see you and Bera the corgi, who you tagged, who has her own Instagram account, which I'll get to. With this, I want to give you the opportunity again to shout out your wife here, because I have so much respect for the spouses that have to kind of put up with those of us who have to travel for work. And with you, it's even on another level. She's a hockey wife. She's a military wife. She's working full time. Clearly, this woman's a superhero. So why don't you kind of really, what does it mean to have someone like that at home who's really got your back? Because a lot of people kind of don't really think about that, but that support is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. I mean, having her here and be able to manage, not only her work, but also just like the whole house as well. I mean, it allows me to focus, on what I have to focus on. And that's I'm grateful for that, ability. And, it definitely helps me to perform better on the ice and be able to just focus my attention where it needs to be. But at the same time, I mean, there's not many people that are able to, just be able to manage all those things. And also it's, or be willing to do those things like drive cross country just so I could see Bera. I mean, there's a lot of things that she would do. And it's just, she's very selfless, and, I'm definitely thankful for her. And, I feel like she definitely forces me to be not only, I guess she just forced me to be a better person, and she definitely challenges me in a lot of aspects. So I'm thankful for her. I'm always thankful for her. So.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to tell me the story. So she and the dog actually drove across the country to watch you?
Yeah.
Where were you? Like where on the, tell me that story.
Yeah. So she drove, she drove from Colorado to Indiana. This time, that was when I was in Evansville. And that was I think it was in October. And that was just so I could, I hadn't seen Bera in like a month and a half, 2 months. So, I was due. And then also, she drove to New York because we're from Buffalo originally. So I met her in Buffalo, and she brought Bera with her then. So she she drove from Colorado to Buffalo with Bear so I could see her at Christmas time as well.
Wow, that's awesome. That's dedication.
It is.
You got yourself a keeper there, my friend. Let me tell you.
I agree.
And then you ended off your own message with looking forward to the next chapter. I know it's early and it's still the off season. It's really barely the off season, but what does that next chapter maybe look like for you, or is it too early for me to ask that question?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's in ink or anything, but I would just say that I would, ideally love to come back and continue to play in the Maple Leafs organization. I mean, they have shown definitely just why they're so renowned, and I'm grateful just for all the, once again, I just say all the resources, everything they put into their teams. I mean, it's second to none, and I'm just grateful for the opportunities they gave me, and hopefully continue to give me, I guess.
Hope so. Well, fingers, we'll cross everything we got two of for you that you get your way. We're going to move away. I mean, that was the end of that Instagram post. And again, man, just really super insightful, and just I feel like that was the best way to kind of tell the story of your year, and who better to tell it than to use your own words. Now, moving on we'll close out our interview here this evening with, now I've asked you to bring a couple of things along with you here today. Now, every year, I feel like every team who's got goalies, we always want to plan to get you guys to talk about your goalie masks. Now, this season, we didn't get the opportunity to do that down the stretch. So I've got you had two masks that you really wore this season, and I've had you bring both of them along. I'd like to start with your first mask, what I'll call your Growlers mask. This is the one. Now, why don't you first kind of lead us in here? What's the story? Was this your college mask? Was this, I see the Barracuda. Was that done for your time in the American League? Tell us the origin story of this piece of art here.
Yes, this one's from my time in San Jose with the Barracuda. Dave Gunnarsson, he made this for me. It has, you can't see, it has the sharks on the side. And then on this, nothing on this side, but there's the Scooby-Doo on this one.
That's what I wanted to lock in on. Why Scooby-Doo?
So my nickname during college was Scooby. I'm not the origin of that. I'm still slightly unsure of, but I think it has something to do with maybe they thought I sounded like Scooby, or I don't know. But the point is, I definitely work to maintain it, because there's a lot of nicknames that you can, be titled, and
that's not so bad.
So I was like, I need to embrace this, and I need to keep this going. So I had Scooby on. I think I had him on all of my masks in college. So doing my best to maintain the nickname, and I thought I'd bring him along with me.
Do you have anything in particular, anything personal on the back plate?
Yeah, so let's see. You can't see. So the back plate, let's see this one. You see that one?
Yeah.
So on the right side, that's the West Point logo. On this side, let's see, there it is. That's actually the emblem for, it's basically Fort Lewis. It's in Washington. It's where a bunch of my classmates ended up posting after graduation. So it was kind of a tribute to them.
Nice.
And then it's kind of hidden behind the strap, but that's just XVII, and that's 17 in Roman numerals. But
I had to quickly, I'm like,
Yeah. So the significance of 17 is that my birthday is May 17th. Our wedding anniversary is on June 17th. And then her birthday is on August 17th. So it's a big number for our family.
Would you consider as a goalie ever wearing 17?
I don't know.
Or is that too out there?
Yeah, I think I'll stick to like the 30s. Maybe I can do, I don't know, 17. I could do like 17 plus, I think her number was maybe 24 at one point. So, maybe do something with that. I don't know, 51. Who knows?
You don't have to. If they broke, don't fix it, maybe.
Yeah. I'll probably stick with something in the 30s.
It suits you well. What can I? Well, you were number 1 with us, did you not?
Oh yeah, so that's actually kind of funny because I was number 1 in Evansville. I never really asked for it. They just kind of gave it to me when I showed up. So then I got 1 in Newfoundland. I didn't really care. I was just like, I'll take a number, whatever. But in college I wore 35, and in juniors I wore 33. So those were if I had a choice, I'd probably wear those. But I guess I was 50 and with the Marlies. That was another one that I was just given. But that's a cool number. I'll take 50. I don't know. I'll take any number.
I like the non-traditional numbers. Is it Koskinen with the Oilers wears like 19 or something as a goal? That's weird, but I dig it. But we could talk about jersey numbers all night, but you have another mask I want to get a look at. Yeah. Tom J123 just asked about it, and we're going to have to show this one off. You didn't get a chance to wear this one with us. You picked up this mask late in the season, did you not?
Yes, I got this. Yeah, I think it was, early February, I believe I got this one. So it has the Marlies logo on top. It's actually like a matte material.
I love that, though.
It's really cool. It wasn't my idea. I leave the creativity to creative people. I kind of come up on this one. I kind of gave him a couple ideas, and he kind of ran with it. So again, it was done by this one was done by David Gunnarsson as well.
Who, for those who don't know, is like a super famous goalie artist. Like, he's done a lot of huge, very famous goalie masks.
Yeah, he's amazing at what he does. I don't know. I'm not sure how he did it, but I'll take it. I don't mind. And then on the side, so on the sides, this is Winston Churchill, just with one of his quotes. He has a lot of great quotes, but the one I put on here was, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat," which I thought was, it's pretty applicable to a hockey team.
Absolutely. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on TV, but that's badass. That's awesome. I love that.
And then it's just under the mask here. It's like along this piece, but it says the 8th Duke of Marlborough. And the whole reasoning behind why it shows this was the history of the Marlies. So they're actually named after the 8th Duke of Marlborough. And I looked into the history, and Winston Churchill is actually the uncle of the 8th Duke of Marlborough. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool connection.
Get out.
Yeah, I was also inspired. It was Linus Allmark. He has it was the Sabres 50th anniversary, I think this past year, and he had a mask that was kind of a tribute to just Sabres throughout the years, and it kind of gave me a little bit of inspiration for it. And then on the back, I'll go for a couple here. Again, I put that symbol.
Got to represent.
Gotta continue to represent. I put the W cap symbol on there. You see that one? Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's great.
Where's the other one? Okay, there's this one. So that's the symbol for the 4th Infantry Division. So that's what I was a part of for that year and a half where I was doing Army stuff. I put put a flag there as well. So, and that's that mask.
Awesome. Would you consider yourself like a mask geek? Like, clearly you put what feels like a lot of thought. You researched Winston Churchill for your mask. Is having something like that important to you?
Well, I think what you put on your mask it's kind of like an outward representation of you. So you kind of have to be considerate of what you put on there. I mean, I put Winston Churchill on there just because of the connection, and also, I mean, he was definitely like a significant historical figure during World War II. So, I think his leadership during World War II and that time is definitely something you have to respect. So, I mean, I wouldn't always just I wouldn't put anyone on there. You know what I mean? So it's you have to be considerate about doing something like that. But I have some ideas for going forward.
Are we bringing Scooby-Doo back onto the Marlies mask here?
Yep. So here.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm not sure I saw Scoob on the mask here.
Okay, so it's gonna be there we go. So the new mask is it's basically going to be a theme. So I wanted like a theme that I could relate for different events. Say it's like a military night or something, and I get to have a different mass for that. Or I think St. Patrick's Day they do different mass.
Yeah.
So my idea is it's basically like the adventures of Scooby and Bera. So basically they're going to be doing cool stuff on the map, and it's going to be related to whatever's going on. So say for Toronto, they could be climbing CN Tower or something. I don't know. They could be exploring Toronto, and then say it's a military tribute night. Maybe they're flying a helicopter or something. I don't know. It's just like it opens up a realm of possibility.
I love it. I hope somewhere when you make it to the NHL, someone comes out with replica versions, because I think I need one or two of these in my office here. Parker, I know I kind of alluded to this earlier, but still a long off season ahead. Kind of what do the next few weeks look like for you?
Yeah, so it's going to be, I've got to finish some home projects. I've got to finish renovating this bathroom.
The honey-do list is not going to finish itself.
Yeah, no, it's 6 months away, and it definitely builds up a decent list. And then continue to train. Maybe take like a week off or something, and get some, go to the beach. I don't know. There's not really beaches in Colorado. It's the middle of the country, so. But I'm great. We've got the Rocky Mountains and stuff like that around here, so there's plenty of outdoor stuff which I can appreciate. But you need some beach time every now and then, so. I'll try. I think Barry needs some too. She's looking a little pale. So, yeah, that's pretty much the plan so far.
So we'll end it off with this. Plug Bera's Instagram and give us a shout out and tell everyone why it's more popular than my social media channel.
Yeah, she's very photogenic, and I think she deserves all the love she gets.
What's the Instagram handle in case anyone wants to follow Bera the Corgi here?
Yeah, it's at Bera the Corgi. So it's BERRA the Corgi.
There you go. It's such a great follow. Parker, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. All the best moving forward. And again, hopefully it's onward and upward for you and we never see you again. But in the off chance you're back here, don't forget, Toutons are on me, okay?
Awesome. That's good. I appreciate it. It's great talking to you.
Parker Gahagen. We'll be right back after a short break. Kristians Rubins will be joining us from Latvia. Stick around. More Growler Hours coming up.
Yeah, boys, Chris Ballard here, the Growlers. Join me every friggin' Saturday. The Growler Hour is going to be deadly.
Welcome back to Growler Hour. Many thanks to our first guest of the evening, Parker Gahagen, for sharing his thoughts here with us today. And we're going to roll right into our second guest, a very special guest. He's a Kelly Cup champion, joining us all the way from Riga, Latvia. Please welcome Kristians Rubins to the program.
Ago in Sweden as well, but back home here you need a green card in order to play. So I'm kind of doing the courses. It's 6 courses an hour, so we kind of put them together, 2 courses in 2 hours, and I have 2 left. So it's not a test, so it's just like it's kind of like practice, teaching you some basics, some theories, what you can do, what you're not. So I'm trying to get the green card, and then gonna try play some golf with my family or some friends. So.
It sounds like a pretty good off season. We have so much to get to with you here today. We're going to talk first about your the season that you just had with the Marlies. I want to pick your brain a little bit about your home country in Latvia. And then, of course, we have to talk a little bit about your time with the Growlers and winning the Kelly Cup. But let's talk about this season. You were a graduate of the Growlers, had your first full year in the American Hockey League, and you had a great year. 47 games played, a couple of goals, 12 assists, 14 points, 6 penalty minutes. How did you feel you did this year and your first full-time year in the American Hockey League?
No, I think I'm pretty, I would say, satisfied with my season. Obviously, unfortunate season the way it ended, but when I look back, I had I would say a good start as obviously in an NHL camp with the Leafs. So even got to play 2 games, so that was kind of a huge motivation for me and myself. Little boost, and then once the season started, it was, I wouldn't say it was the best start up to December, but once I got into really my game, and then after December, I really felt like my game's picking up, and I felt more comfortable and comfortable every game. So it was pretty satisfying.
Oh, absolutely, and if you mind, how did your season end? Maybe kind of tell us the story of your last game, your last days. Where were you, and how quickly did you end up getting home to Latvia? Was that a trouble getting flights? Kind of put together those last couple of weeks for us.
Yeah, we had actually my parents were just in town too in Toronto, so and they left the 11th March, I believe, and then the 12th we were supposed to play Bridgeport, and then we flew Bridgeport, played Bridgeport, and obviously after the game, everyone found out that NBA's season was canceled or postponed. So then we all got I wouldn't say frustrated, but nobody really knew what was going to happen. So the next day we woke up and we were just waiting for emails to come. We were supposed to go to Hershey, but once we got on the bus, we went to Toronto because obviously AHL came to kind of agreement that we have to, stop the play. So, yeah, and then went back to Toronto. It was like an 8-hour trip, really weird trip. I wouldn't say really weird, but it was just, nobody knew what's going to happen next. Are we going to be able to get home or not? So everything was really, up to question. So, but later then, I was hoping this thing isn't going to last that long than it is right now. So I stayed in Toronto for, I believe it was like April 29th. So I was there for
Okay.
pretty long time. I was kind of postponing all the time because I thought I'm going to get, the season going to come back, but then things got, out of hand. And then I kind of came to with my agent that, it's maybe time to go home. And at this point, I think it was the right choice since, I haven't been sitting in my apartment or home all the time. So I'm really busy. I'm doing stuff. So obviously it's physically and mentally better. So
Absolutely.
It's really good.
And you mentioned it before we got going, but I'd kind of like you to share the story with us. Your flight home to Latvia from Toronto certainly sounded like a bit of an experience.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, we all have to wear masks. And, the first flight was from Toronto to Frankfurt, and it was 9 hours. And the stewards weren't going back and forth. They would just give you food right away and, leave you to it. But it was really comfortable. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people on flight, so could really spread out and sleep. Obviously, the mask was, I wouldn't say it was the first time, but it was the first time wearing it for, a longer period of time. But, and then I got to Frankfurt. I couldn't really sit by the gate. I had to go out of the airport because I had to recheck in. Oh. And in order to recheck in, I had to wait for my gate, my flight to start the gate open.
Right.
And it wasn't open till like 2 hours before the flight. So I had to sit there for 9 hours on my hockey bags and sticks. So it was a tough one, but, once I got on a flight back home, it was easy. I even got to do the test right away for COVID-19 and
good.
Got home. And then 2 days later, it came results that it was, negative. So that was pretty good.
No, awesome. Whew, man, what a day. I thought the Growlers travel was a little rough, but that's next level.
It was a full day, yeah.
No kidding. Take us a little more through your year. What did you feel you maybe improved upon the most? Because when you first joined us out of junior, you were this wide-eyed kid. I remember I took you and Babinsev to the mall to get your first cell phone with us, but certainly you've come a long way since your first days with a Growler. What are some of the areas where you think you saw the most improvement this year?
Obviously Toronto has really helped me to get to the point where I am right now, and with all the development coaches helping in every way possible. So I would say probably just, positioning on ice and skating. I think I've got a lot comfortable than I used to be. So I think those two aspects, and obviously my stick work, but I think there's a lot of small details that I worked into, especially improved this year because, there's a lot of people around you who is looking at you and helping you to get better. So I'm, honored that there are the people that, ready to help me in any day. So, I think those aspects were definitely The ones I don't think I've improved in scoring goals, but
well, hey, you had a couple. You only had 3 in total as a Growler, and we're going to go through at least a couple of them a little later on. But first, I got to ask you. Obviously, you got to make this full-time jump to the American Hockey League with a couple at least of familiar faces around you from the Growlers. Hudson Ellenuk was up there. Scott Pooley spent the majority of the time there. Does that make it any easier knowing that you've got a couple of guys who you've kind of been through the ringer with a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, a lot, I would say. I actually got I traveled to Canada earlier than we were supposed to. And, I talked to Hudson like a couple of weeks ago that we were both ready to go earlier and, rent an Airbnb. So I'm practice there. So we were spending time a lot together and, practicing as well before the camp started. So I think that really helped me a lot too. And, there's always nice to have familiar faces. But again, there's a lot of guys returning from last year, and now I spent there 2 months last year. So, there's guys that I already before knew. So I was really, I wouldn't say scared and nervous. I was, comfortable going in and doing my thing.
And you did your thing pretty darn well as well. It ended up resulting in an NHL contract for you, a 2-year deal. Congratulations. And I mean that you're such just a good dude. We were all cheering for you here. Take us through the process of how that all kind of came to be, and especially because that was April 1st, right in the middle of this whole pandemic thing. That's a little unique. Take us through, if you can, as much as you can share about the process of signing that contract.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, it was I wasn't really ready for anything like that. Obviously it was pandemic and, stressful because I was in Toronto at that time and I couldn't at that time go home yet. So, but, when the news came in that, there's an interest and then I'm going to sign a deal. So it was, it's an honor. It's a privilege. I still can't believe sometimes that, that thing is actually true. And, so I'm, really happy. I didn't really think much, I just knew what I want. And, Toronto is like my second home and I love to be there. I love the team. I love the organization. There's a huge future ahead of them. So, didn't put much thought in it, just did it. And then, yeah, so, kind of exciting, I would say.
No kidding. Does that maybe change your outlook on, say, next season? Does that maybe make your expectations a little higher? Do you challenge yourself to really try and make an impression heading right into next season?
Yeah, for sure, I think. But, I honestly personally think that motivation hasn't really been my issue. But, just a little boost will always help you. Amen. So, I'm just practicing regular as used to and, not much things change, just, that opportunity that comes with it. So, working already 4 weeks. So 4 weeks already working for the next season, just don't know yet when it's going to start. So.
No, absolutely. And I want to talk a little bit about your native land over in Latvia. I did a little research. Only 25 Latvians have ever played in the NHL, and there's only 5 playing there currently. Was that a big deal at home when you got to sign with an original 6 team like the Maple Leafs? Was that something that came with some reaction from that home in the media and everyone in Latvia?
Oh yeah, for sure. My phone was ringing all day long, honestly. But yeah, it's a big thing. You come from a small land, and there's only 1.82 million people, and then you do the calculation. There isn't that many hockey players, so so it is definitely. That's part of my life, and that's part of where I'm from. So definitely a huge honor and pride to be able to do so. So
absolutely. And I remember I caught one international tournament ever in my life, and I want you to try and explain to the fans who maybe aren't so aware what makes Latvia such an awesome hockey country with some of the greatest hockey fans you'll ever see. Any international event where North Americans get to see it firsthand, the fans in Latvia seem just to eat it up. Try and explain to us Latvia as a hockey country.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, there's obviously a lot of other sports that, fans and people here are passionate about. but hockey is definitely one of those things. And, unfortunately this year we didn't have the World Championship that usually is the high pick and everyone's watching TV. Everyone's, that's one way how I fell in love with the game, watching the World Championships through the TV. So, fans are unbelievable here. And I remember, I think a week ago, EHF had this virtual championship through the votes, and Latvia actually won it. So, it all, says about our fans here. So they're really passionate about the sport. Everyone, that knows their players, and they follow up, where even when I'm in Canada or somebody else, even when I played in the ECHL, everyone's kept writing about me and, about Newfoundland Growlers is all winning the cup. So definitely they're following up the guys that play outside of Latvia.
And you've had a chance to play at that World Championship for your country and scored what has to be the biggest goal of your career up there. We have a couple of Growlers ones that might be in the conversation, but it was you ended up scoring the tying goal against Team Canada late in the game, if I'm not mistaken, to help force overtime. Take us through that. That must have been another wild time for Latvia to tie Canada, or at least force overtime. Take us through that.
Yeah, it was a wild camp for me as well. It was the first one, and head coach was, Bob Hartley. So,
right.
I remember coming into camp and I was really frustrated just because knowing who he is and how he's coaching. But, by the end of the day, I made it. And then that goal, it was a really tight game. Whole game was really tight. It was 1-0. I think they scored the first period, and then, they couldn't do much later on. And then last, I believe, was 10 minutes or so in the third period, and I got pretty, I would say, softy shot from the blue line, and it went in. So I would say it was pretty lucky, but maybe it's the skill.
Definitely. Unfortunately, some scrub named McDavid had to come and ruin the party for you guys. But nonetheless, I know that was a huge moment for yourself and for the country. You guys had a good tournament that year, did you not? You took the U.S. to overtime, and you had a handful of wins in there as well. That must have been a pretty big deal.
We lost to Sweden in I believe quarterfinals. So we were top 8. Was the first time in like 9 years or so we got there. So it was really a huge thing. We were close with Sweden too. We were, I believe, 3-2 and just one goal game, and we were playing goals. But again, the whole team was happy about the effort and what we were able to accomplish, because coming into the championships, I think, we were a really young team, a lot of guys that play in AHL and some guys in Europe. So we were really young guys there. So we were not really experienced team that year, but it went pretty good.
No kidding. So from the streets of Riga, Latvia, to the rolling hills of St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, it was a year ago today from the time of this interview, we had the Kelly Cup parade through the streets of downtown St. John's, a few days removed from the 1-year anniversary of the Kelly Cup. I'm sure your phone has been blowing up with memories from last year. I mean, now that a year has passed, kind of how has that sat on you, your Kelly Cup year here in the great province of Newfoundland and Labrador?
Every time I see a post, couple of last hours, I would say, it's just, you feel the goosebumps and the memories come back, and what a time it was, honestly. The year we were a really good team. We always believed we were going to win, but that feeling when you actually win the cup is something that you can't imagine before happening. So I would say my best year was, the Kelly Cup was something none of us could, really imagine what it's going to feel like. So it's definitely unreal to, rewatch it, and it's hard to believe that it's been a year. So.
No, I know the time is just gone by for sure. It's funny, you mentioned earlier, I haven't improved much in the goal scoring. You did only score 3 goals in a Growlers uniform, and that's not me taking anything away from you, because 2 of those 3 goals could be considered the biggest goals in franchise history, and we're going to get you to go through a couple of them. We're going to take you all the way back to opening night, all the way back in October of 2018. you hadn't been in Newfoundland very long at all before you scored the first ever goal in franchise history. Now that, again, so much time has passed, what does it mean knowing that, you were the one who started off the goal scoring on what would end up being a storybook championship season? That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool for sure. I mean, at the time, when I scored that goal, it was, I really didn't realize that it was the first one. I mean, obviously, I knew the team is new and everything, but nobody would say, hey, you scored the first goal of the Growlers franchise, So, but after the game, when they took my stick and the puck that I never got, was, obviously then, you understood that it's pretty big deal. And, it's still in my memories a lot. I remember, it was actually Bradley passed me the puck, and we played like literally 2 years ago together in Medicine Hat. So maybe that chemistry comes together, but, it's really weird spot too. I scored from, literally a couple meters from the net. So
yeah, it's not normally where we find you.
Yeah, not usually for sure. So different spot, but, it's awesome to be, remembered and still have that memory in my head to score that goal. It's a pretty awesome feeling.
No kidding. And you also scored, for my money, I'm going to call it the most momentous goal of the entire playoff run, Game 4 in Toledo of the Kelly Cup Finals. It's a tie game pretty late in the game, second half of the third period for sure. You take a great pass from Giorgio Estefan for the only road win by any team in that series. I mean, take us through that goal as you saw it, because that was huge. Not long after Darian Plouffe blocked all those shots. I know I'm rambling about it just because it was that big of a goal. What do you remember about it?
Scoring in the empty net for sure. At the time it felt, Gio just did an unbelievable pass there, and I couldn't do much than just hitting the net. Just all I had to do, I was really stressful if I'm going to miss. I just had in my head that just hit the net, because it was all empty from my stand. So, it's funny, I played against Gio those last 2 years as well. And then by the end of the day, we scored a goal together. So, those games in Toledo were tough, and then the crowd was loud, and scoring that goal just, really, I wouldn't say it was a real relief, but it was a little boost to our team that, okay, we can finish this off and go home and finish it there. So definitely something. Do you remember, or maybe this is me just trying to pump my own tires here. Do you remember that I told you that morning that I was like, Rubes, I got a good feeling. I think I saw you in the hotel lobby or something, or down in the room. I'm like, Rubes, today's your day. I felt like I was pumping guys up. And do you remember me telling you that? You told me a lot of times that, but definitely that as well.
Hey, if you throw enough darts at the wall, something might stick. And it did this day. I'll remember that.
I mean, we had a lot of conversations, obviously, in airport together with you, and you couldn't believe that you're going to be, potentially.
Oh, I felt like I just predicted the winning lottery.
And you were really skeptic about it, so I obviously said that we're going to win the cup, and and then I told
that's true. Actually, I remember that conversation we had in Toledo.
Probably in Pearson Airport as well. It was definitely, we spent a lot of time there.
No kid, I actually remember we were watching the end of the Tulsa Toledo series on my laptop in the airport. I think it was the same day that the Raptors had won their big game in one of their series. I remember. Yeah, we were hanging. It's cool the stories that you remember. Getting a chance to catch up for a minute. I mean, I'd have to ask you, too, about your time in the city of St. John's. I know you only had a short stay here with us, but I know you liked your time here. What are you going to remember most about your time in this great city?
The people, definitely. I think, the people are so nice and they welcome you there. I remember, I was really I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared, but I really didn't know where I was going, I signed with the Growlers, and I knew it was, Canada, and it was an island, but I didn't really know what to expect. And, obviously the first week was maybe a little bit tougher just because the training camp started. But, when you met the guys that are they're locals, they were so nice, Brian and James and Party as well. So, definitely the people, the views, the nature there, it's unbelievable. And, it's still definitely something that I want to show my family around more. But I will never forget that place.
No kidding. And a lot of great memories, certainly in this building. But hey, upward and onward for you. What's next for Kristians Rubins now? What does the rest of your off season look like? I know a lot of things are up in the air, but kind of what do you have planned for yourself for the next few weeks and months?
Golf. No, I've been practicing with my physiotherapist for 4 weeks right now, I believe, and I've been skating as well twice a week. So I'm playing tennis with my friends, having golf as well. So I've been pretty busy. Really nothing, just typical week. Skate, physiotherapist, workout, and spend some time with my family. So nothing really off topic.
Well, it could be worse. You get lots of time to work on that tan. When will you? Obviously, nobody knows when the next season's going to begin, and I know you won't need to be called into duty. Your NHL deal doesn't kick in until the beginning of next season. But when will you have to come back, back to Canada now for to start kicking things into high gear, or is that not even on the radar at this point?
No, it is. I mean, obviously we'll see how, this year plans out for the NHL, and I hope I can get back, as soon as possible as this thing, clears a little bit, and then it's safe to go. So as long as it is safe, I'll be going to Toronto, and I'm practicing with the coaches there. So kind of same thing as last year, coming in earlier, and then getting used to the time change and the weather there. So, just going to plan it out, I think, itself. So just have to see how the season plans out and watch some hockey, and then hope to be back right away.
I was going to say, how are you going to enjoy watching hockey in the middle of summer? That's a little different.
I just have to wake up earlier, the 2-3 morning. And
oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a time shift. What time would a game come on then in Latvia? If it's an 8:30 start time here, it's 5.5 hours difference to Latvia. So yeah, do the math. Yeah, your internal clock's going to need some adjusting.
But obviously we all miss hockey, and when it comes on, it's not enough with highlights the next morning. So I always want to see live and watch, how it goes and how it turns out. So I'm kind of excited when it comes, but, I believe we still have some time till that. And, I just have to plan my time and put a lot of alarm clocks and set it up and just try to wake up, I would say.
I guess so. What do you think of the format? Obviously, a little different playoff format than you're used to. What's your take on it?
I mean, honestly, I haven't really paid attention to the format. Obviously, I know the teams that are playing. When it comes all bit together, I'll probably, pay a little bit more attention to it. While hockey's not back, I'm not really, thinking about it. It's still, we all miss it. So it's something that you really want to, think just now. You're obviously practicing for the next season. But this season, when you are not, you don't have to play, it's a little bit different.
Absolutely. One more question before we let you go. We talked about your great home country of Latvia. I'm just curious, who are some of, say, your local hero type of guys who you maybe looked up to as a kid? I know there weren't a lot, but I'm sure the Sandis Ozolinches of the world were probably pretty big in your eyes.
For sure, yeah. I mean, Sandis Ozolinches, Kristians as well. But, when I was younger, I obviously was a fan of Latvia and watched the World Championships and everything. But, the dream was always to be in the NHL. And I was always, kind of watching Nicklas Lidstrom. He was my top one guy that I used to watch, and the consistency of the game. And throughout the years, it was unbelievable to me. So it was definitely a role player for me on hockey. But definitely I watched, obviously, Latvian players play. So. They were a mix up, but still some guys in my thoughts and my memories that I still look up to.
And hopefully you'll be as good as those guys soon enough. Pretty lofty expectations, but if anyone could do it, you could, my friend. All the best moving forward. Congrats again on the NHL deal. You have a province full of people here behind you, and we know you'll represent the Growlers wherever you may go. Kristians Rubins, thanks again, sir, for your time.
Thanks, Chris.
And we are out of time here for this week's episode of Growler Hour, sponsored by Molson Coors. Thank you all so much for joining us. And again, thank you to my special guests, Parker Gahagen and Kristians Rubins. Thank you to John Long and Kenny O'Leary and all the crew back at Growlers headquarters for helping make this show a possibility. Don't forget, you can watch Growler Hour every Thursday right here on twitch.tv/NL Growlers. And you can catch us on Rogers Television Saturdays at 9 p.m., Sundays at 11 a.m. I'm Chris Ballard. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Join me, Chris Ballard, the voice of the Newfoundland Growlers, on Rogers TV Saturdays at 9 p.m. for the Growler Hour.